Hello everyone and welcome back to the Super Rugby Podcast / the Rugby World Cup Podcast 2019 with your hosts Toby Harris and
Damien Warren.
You liked that last week, so I thought I'd chuck it in this week. In this week's podcast, Tobes, we're going to talk about red card, yellow card, something else card. We're going to talk about games being called off.
Yeah,
Really games being called off?
Yeah,
it is the World Cup. Quarterfinals, who's going to win them? Players who divide opinion. And last but not least, who is the best coaching team in the competition? But before all of that, Tobes, we are going to look over the weekend's matches and then preview next week's matches.
Right, mate. You can finally take a breath. Far out. You got
know
lungs
me.
on you, mate. You got lungs on you. Surprised you're not a singer. Righto. First game.
Singer.
Mate, shut your mouth. It's my turn to talk. First game was Argentina-USA. Now, Argentina were always going to win this, but it was sort of by how much. And were the US going to actually score some points because they haven't looked very good.
I mean, they've been probably the two most disappointing teams in the competition. Argentina underachieved, the USA underachieved. In fact, USA have gone on to secure the worst run of losses at a World Cup. I don't think they've won a game in over 2 World Cups.
Really? Well, Namibia have never won a game.
Yeah, but for USA, who are supposed to be building, getting stronger and better, to be really scratching around.
That's true.
But big news in the USA
I sent it to you, didn't I? Nonu has signed. Who's he signed for?
I had no idea.
No, neither.
I really didn't care.
But he's signed.
Who he signed, but it was big news for him to sign.
Big news.
So they are starting to attract some of those players, aren't they? I mean, purely for money, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah. But it'll be good fun.
Yeah. It was one. I didn't watch this game.
No,
I wasn't interested.
Nope.
Next up, though, was Scotland-Russia, and I did watch this game because it was all about bonus points.
I'm surprised that you've said that the Argentina and USA teams were your biggest underachievers. Scotland have got to be up there.
No.
They've got
not
to
at
be
all.
up there.
How dare you? How dare you say this? They underachieved, yes, against Ireland.
Yes.
They've played great rugby, and we're going to get to the game, but Japan thoroughly deserved that victory.
Yes, but they've still underachieved.
Well,
if you think about it,
okay,
they were almost set in stone quarterfinalists, weren't they? Let's be honest.
Set in stone quarterfinalists.
Yes,
I do agree with you that they were more likely to make it through, but they were always going to lose to Ireland. I don't think anyone would have expected them to beat Ireland.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And that Japan match was always going to be a tough match. Now, the fact that Japan then went and beat Ireland,
I know that made it very hard for Scotland then, didn't it?
and have had something like 252 days in camp.
Who?
The Japan team.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez.
So they are very, very well paired.
Yes, they are.
Let's not worry about that just yet.
No.
But this game was actually quite interesting because they needed 4 tries.
Yeah.
They started well, but they started like they're looking kind of like we need 4 tries.
Yeah.
We must score 4 tries. And as soon as they got their 4 tries, which was just after half time, the floodgates opened and they played some absolutely wonderful rugby.
They relaxed, didn't they? And that's what made them play good rugby. You know, they didn't have that monkey on their shoulder.
Absolutely.
Going, we need 4 tries, we need 4 tries.
Do you mean monkey on the back, mate? Monkey on the back. That's what most people say. Normal people. But anyway, we'll move on. Next game, though. Game. Wales, Fiji. And I said to you, didn't I? I said something in me waters was saying this was going to be an amazing game. I'm just going to say it out. Fiji should have won that game.
Yeah,
Fiji should have won
yeah.
it. There was a number, and okay, they didn't win it, and they didn't win it because all the refereeing decisions was bang on. But there was about 3 or 4 just forward passes that stopped them from actually winning the game. And was it bad luck? Sometime, I mean, on a different day, they would have scored all those tries, and Wales would have had no answers.
No, that's right. They just didn't have the rub of the green, did they?
It was 29-17, and Wales scored 2 very late tries.
Yeah.
And Fiji looked like they were going to snip it. It was a very, very impressive match.
Well, Fiji made them look amateur, didn't they?
Fiji, their number 11. Oh my God.
Sign him up.
He made...
You'll see him in the Blues, eh?
You should do. He'd be out. But he made professional rugby players look like schoolboys.
Yeah.
He was amazing. arguably, I'm going to say it now, I think he's the best player in the world at the moment. I don't even know his name. That's how horrific it is. I can't even pronounce his name more likely. But there was another incident here, which was a really bad knock to the head for Bigger.
Yeah, I don't even know how it happened. They're going up aerial.
You're going up aerial.
Yeah.
It was actually the fullback, the Welsh fullback.
Right.
Williams?
Yes.
Yes. Gone up. Bigger's gone up. Yeah. Gone up later. I think it was hip into head. And it was awful, mate. It was one of the worst sort of head knocks I've seen for a while. And you're like, oh. Good question was, if it had been an opposition player, would it have been a red card?
No, because they're both contesting for the...
Correct. They're both contesting for the ball. Yeah, they were both looking directly at the ball. But it was a good question because actually, as the rules say, it doesn't actually need to be someone from the opposition, which is ridiculous, isn't it? If it's careless and reckless and you have hurt your own team's player, you could be yellowed or red card.
You're not going to do that though, are you?
I know.
Like we're on the same team. I'm like, David, I hate you. Poof.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't put it past you, mate, to be honest.
God, I wish.
But Fiji should have won that.
We'd never play on the
same
team,
that would have been the big upset that I was talking about. Fiji have almost done two big upsets. Australia and Wales. They could have been the Japan of this tournament again. Imagine that. We had Japan make it through and Fiji making it through.
Did they make it through? No. So let's move on. Australia, Georgia.
Who cares?
A lot closer than I thought,
mate?
though. No, I agree. Who cares? But a lot closer than I thought.
Do you know the two closest games of the weekend?
New Zealand, Italy.
Right, you couldn't split them.
I tell you what, you couldn't split them. But I tell you what, the biggest upset in Rugby World Cup history.
Yeah, they got a point.
Or
2 points.
Well, it was a draw.
It was a draw, mate. And they fought hard for that draw, didn't they? Now, we're going to go back. The Italian...
Kicked up a fuss
about this.
Paris.
And Briggs, yeah. Do you know, I kind of agree with them.
I can definitely see where they're coming from. I mean, it might not have made a difference, but the thing is that we thought Ireland were going to romp Japan. Correct?
I'm not in a month of Sunday saying Italy would have beaten the All Blacks.
No, I know, but... You know, they need to play to get the chance.
I just think, and we're gonna talk about this. It's the World Cup. It's bad weather. It's typhoon season.
You're looking after the players, aren't you? The welfare.
No. I don't think anyone. Well, if you are, I think you're a bit of an idiot. But I don't think anyone is saying that they should have played on that day.
Yeah.
But I do think they should have moved the fixture potentially to the day earlier. Played a day earlier when there wasn't any threat of the typhoon coming through, or 2 days later, or whatever it is.
Because then you've got rest time, you've got ticket sales,
but
all that sort of thing.
Let's cut all that aside.
Who cares about who was watching?
This is a World Cup game.
Yeah, true.
And potentially, let's say, and there was some potential, wasn't there?
Yeah,
let's
there was.
Say this had been the South African game, and it was South Africa playing against Italy. Okay, that meant Italy, if they had beaten South Africa, would have gone through, potentially, and it would have meant that South Africa wouldn't have gone through. Now, would they have cancelled that game, or would they have rearranged it? And I just think, it's the World Cup, it's in Japan, this typhoon season, you have to have planned for this. And just to turn around and say, we'll just cancel the games, and they'll get... We're talking about quarterfinals, semi-finals and final, good teams potentially missing out. And we were just lucky.
That it was the
that it wasn't the Japan-Scotland game.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't
they were saying this could be... They left it up to the last minute.
Or it could have been the old... the Irish game.
Yeah.
And imagine that was binned off. They wouldn't have made it through.
No.
Or potentially wouldn't have made it through. So I just think, World Cup, come on, guys. You should have planned for this. But anyway... England versus France, another game, and that could have made a big difference because if France had won that, they would have gone top of the group.
Yeah.
The fact that they haven't won it means that England have gone top of the group. They're playing Australia. I think England would much rather play Australia.
Agreed.
Than Wales.
That's why Steady Eddie was so happy.
Well, Steady Eddie wasn't happy, mate. He was saying, I'm not happy. I've done a lot of planning, a lot of emotional. He was, Steady Eddie was running around the room, punching and come on, wasn't he, really, behind closed doors, because there's no way they would have wanted to have played Wales.
No, I agree.
They'll beat Australia, and they'll beat them well. That's my prediction for the games.
Ireland, Scotland was all... Well, to be fair, I thought...
Samoa, you mean?
Ireland, Samoa. I thought Samoa would have done a better job.
We've said this throughout the whole Super Rugby podcast. They're just not as good as in previous years.
They're like the barbarians thrown together.
Oh, yeah. They are.
In that aspect, I mean.
In that aspect. Yeah. In that aspect. So, Ireland put them to the sword with 14 men. The big question was, yet again, another red card.
Yeah.
Potential player out of the competition. Should he have got a red card?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
He's got three games off.
Oh, it's just a shocker, eh?
That's his World Cup gone.
Look, we're going to talk about this later on,
yeah.
But for me, was their intent to hurt?
Oh, no. And I guess that's the mitigating factor.
The mitigating factor was the player who he tackled only just regathered the ball, was going from a low position to a high position. There was actually quite a bit more to it. But I just think the way that the wording of the rules is now is we have to introduce a new system, because this current system penalises players too much, penalises teams too much.
But can I just say, there's been so many more red cards this World Cup than any other game I've ever seen.
Because of the wording of the rules. But it's direct contact to the head with force, no mitigating circumstances, then it's a red card.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't make a difference, let's be honest.
No, it didn't make a difference, but it might make a difference.
Might do. That's what I'm scared about the All Blacks.
It might actually help Ireland, because I think now when you look at it, and we'll talk about that again a bit later, you've got Connor Murray.
Yeah.
You've got Johnny Sexton. You've got Henshaw together. Ringrose at 13. That looks real good. The only issue is that maybe they're not all in form at the moment, but if you had said to me that's your back line for Ireland a year ago, I would have said, well, that's their best back line they can put out.
Yeah. Namibia, Canada?
I'm absolutely gutted that this game wasn't played.
Because Namibia that was their goal. That was the game that they were aiming to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think Canada were probably the same.
Massively. I think Canada would look at that and say that was a possible victory for them. Yeah. Namibia look at that. I know the people of the area would have been really looking forward to the game as well.
Agreed.
What really impressed me, mate, was the Canada team were out clearing up.
Yeah, that was quality,
the streets to allow the local people to go and watch the games that are going to come up. And I thought that was pretty impressive, and actually showed why rugby, our game of rugby,
such a classy sport.
Is such a classy sport, isn't it? I say that, and then I look at you, mate, and I think, well, what's classy about you? But
the new haircut, mate.
The new hat.
Shut up. USA Tonga.
What a game!
What a game!
Tight game, wasn't it? USA were in it. USA looked like they probably were slightly better, and then boom, 2 tries later, Piatau, great send off for him. Great send off for him. Last international game. What he's done for the country has been absolutely fantastic. Tonga, good. And their small mistakes weren't absolutely nailed by the USA, unlike when they were playing some of the other teams in their pools where they made a mistake. France just were on it.
Yeah, exactly.
France were on it like that. But,
like a dog on vomit, mate. Wales,
like a dog on vomit.
Wales, Uruguay.
Never heard that one before.
Yeah, well, hey, you come to
Wales
me,
were rubbish.
That's what I thought.
Wales were rubbish, but they were playing a second string side.
Shouldn't make much of a difference. They should.
It does. It just shows that's the thing now with Wales. They don't have the depth.
No.
They bring the bench on. There's nothing there, and that's why I'm not sure whether or not they will manage to go through.
Yeah.
I think our Razzler Dazzler mentioned in his recent email to us that he said they don't have the cattle, and I agree with him. They don't have the cattle.
I didn't read that because you didn't forward it on to me.
Yeah, I will do, mate. Don't worry.
Thanks, Razzler Dazzler. Why don't you email it to me as well?
Razzler Dazzler also said that if we give him our address, he will send us some kit, which is absolutely fantastic.
What a hero!
That you will have to wear.
What a hero!
And he mentioned it was going to be an England top.
I'd rather wear a rubbish bag. Oh, I would be wearing a rubbish bag if it was an England top.
No, he said he'd send us a local rugby top from the area.
Now, this was the game of the pool rounds, but hands down.
This was the game before anything started that I think everyone was looking forward to, wasn't it? Japan versus Scotland. 70,000 people. Great stat. 40 million
It's so many
Japanese,
people.
well, I don't know whether Japanese, people in Japan watching the pool matches.
Really?
The pool. So how many people watch that match? But we're talking about the pool matches.
Is that just sort of average?
That's on average 40 million Japanese people. So we bow to the Japanese support here. They're fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Scotland started amazingly. They really look like
quick try
here
after
we go.
6 minutes.
Yeah, tier 1 team on against tier 2 team.
Yeah.
But Japan, Japan.
No, but you're saying tier 1 versus tier 2. Japan were ahead of them in the world.
They're still tier 2, mate.
I know, which is ridiculous.
Do you know how
Scotland should be tier 2 now?
Do you know how?
But they're not going to be.
You become a tier 1 team.
How? You got to have someone on the board, don't you?
Nah.
Oh, how?
Do you know how?
How?
There's only 2 competitions you can be tier 1. The Rugby Championship, right?
And
or the Six Nations. If you're not part of those 2 competitions, you're not tier 1. How ridiculous is that?
That is absolutely awful. And the thing is that these tier 2 countries can't get into it.
No, it's like you got to sort of, shake hands in a particular way.
What, below the belt?
Oh, have we got...
Oh, hello. Tier 1 you are.
we talking about wet balls again? Let's not go there.
Yeah, anyway.
I just thought that Japan were absolutely amazing. Certain players. Number 11. Can you pronounce that? Fukuoka. Was it 2 tries or 3 tries? Was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Tamora. They're 10.
I tell you what, they're fullback though.
Just wait for this.
Kicker. Sorry.
Yeah.
You carry on, mate.
Yeah,
you
of
do
course.
What you need to do. You do what you need to do.
Tamora was almost Dan Carter-esque. Just everything just was
fluid.
For the biggest game of their lives.
Yeah.
To have a guy at 10 that just looked like it didn't really matter.
Oh, what
and
a
the
guy.
way that he played was all outstanding. Thought they were amazing at the breakdown. They were greater than the sum of their parts, I've put here. Better skills and
Matsushima?
Yeah, good word, mate. The number 14. He's been really,
fantastic,
really class.
But you've got the number 15 isn't in here, so they're kicker.
No, I didn't think he was that good. He's not the kicker at goal, mate.
Yeah, he is. Number 15.
Is he? No,
yeah.
He's not. No, it's 10, mate. You mixed it up.
Oh, I've mixed it up, have I?
Mixed it up. I thought Scotland did have their chance. At 56 minutes in, it was 28-21. And they had a couple of good chances. They just didn't manage the end of the game well at all. And I think that comes down to the fact they're not used to winning.
And they got, 7 points down. They were pushing. They were pushing to score, pushing, making simple mistakes that they wouldn't normally use or do. But the likes of New Zealand, if we're 7 points down,
we don't really panic.
With 24 minutes to go, if we're 7 points down with 2 minutes to go, we trust our system.
I suppose they're not 7 points down, are they?
No, they've got to win by 14. Well, they've got to win by more than 8.
They've got to win by more than 8. So they're actually
8.
15 points down.
Yeah.
So I suppose that is the weight that's on their shoulders.
Yeah,
thinking
but they've still got 24 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And they should have been taking a penalty kick. Boom, 3 points, and then the pressure goes back on Japan because Japan are thinking it's only 2 tries now, whereas before it was 3
scores.
3 scores. What a great game! I mean, if you have not watched this game, you need to watch it. The next question is though, whoever won that game. Can they win another game?
I've talked to quite a few people about this, and some people said that they can.
Who said that they can?
Exactly.
Who were they? Were they blind?
Isaacs?
Were they blind? Were they crawling along the streets? Because these guys have gone to battle. They've gone to war.
They've had their final.
I think psychologically for Japan, they've made the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
That was their goal. They've reached their goal. I'd be really surprised if Jamie Joseph has gone, right, let's talk about World Cup finals before this tournament.
Yeah.
So when you've reached your goal and you've put everything out, every ounce of energy, it's pretty hard to back that up again and again and again.
Yeah, but the last time, well, not the last time, but Japan have beaten South Africa before.
In the last World Cup.
Yeah.
Last time they played them
No.
in the World Cup.
Yes. So the last World Cup.
Do you like how I kind of reeled that back? But it's going to be a hell of a game, isn't it? Hell of a game. And that's what we're going to talk about next.
That's the last game of the weekend.
It is, what a finishing to the weekend it will be. That's what we're going to talk about next is the up-and-coming quarterfinals and who we think is going to win them.
Right, so the first game, England-Australia.
Oh,
Australia are going to whoop them.
Australia are going to whoop them. Oh, I really hope they whoop them.
I would love to see that.
Okay, a
Curtly
question.
Beale, 3 tries.
Okay, would you swap Australia whooping England if we lost to Australia in the semi-finals? Or would... Oh, God, this is a terrible question. Or would you...
Rather hang myself?
Oh, I don't... There's no right. It's awful, isn't it? Look, whatever happens, this is an awful game. Because whoever wins, it means we're hopefully, if we can beat Ireland, we're going to play the next... And I'd much rather play Australia than England.
I agree.
Without any shadow of a doubt. So please... Baby Jesus, can you make
Australia, please?
Can Australia have one of their inspirational?
I can't wait to
moments?
watch it.
Oh yeah, can I? Yeah.
What time? 8:15 local time.
It's going to be fantastic.
Sorry, local as in English time.
English time. So you're going to say?
I'm going to say England. Yeah.
You're going to say England to win by how many?
14.
Yeah, I think England are going to win easy. I think England are going to win it easy.
They'll win by 2 tries.
Then for us, the big match is New Zealand versus Ireland. Have Ireland got a shot?
They do.
They do, yeah.
They do. Not on form, but on historic games.
I think if you look at them and you say the big time, they've got a lot of big time players playing for them. Now, not many of those big time players are in form. But what big time players do is they're in form when it needs to happen.
Agreed.
Whereas someone who's in form, who's not as experienced, can often have a shocker.
Yeah.
I'm
so scared. I'm so scared.
I'm going to say New Zealand.
I'm going to go New Zealand by 12.
Wow, that's a confident. I will agree with you.
Yeah.
So far, we've agreed on both.
Yeah.
On the Sunday, we've got Wales versus France.
Now,
I'm going to go Wales, mate.
I was going to go Wales as well, but it depends what the first 20 minutes looks like, France-wise. If France turn up,
France turn up. There's no way.
They'll be in it for a bit.
No way. If France don't turn up in the first half, I'm more worried as if I was a Welsh supporter, right? If France turn up in the first 40 minutes, Wales will win. Because one thing I know about watching a lot of French games is they don't turn up.
They're only good for one half.
They're only good for one half.
Yeah.
And if they're good in the second half, well, you got problems. So you kind of want them to turn up and look amazing because they're going to be absolutely gash in the second half.
Oh.
So I'm going to say Wales, but I do agree with you. If France don't turn up, they'll turn up in the second half. And then we've got real problems. Real problems.
Japan, South Africa.
South Africa easy. I think Japan, don't get me wrong, I think Japan will fight. And Japan have been in training camps for 200 and something odd days. So they are probably the fittest team out there. Yeah. But there's some massive collisions in that game against Scotland. And it was relentless.
Huge people in that South African team.
I think that the South African team will just have too much. I think teams have underrated the physical prowess of the Japanese side. The South Africans won't. And they will have a game plan which is going to be to bully those Japanese. You know, they're going to have them for breakfast.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I think the Japanese team, as brave as they are, will back up last week's match with a fine display in the first half. But they're just going to get tired.
Yeah. Now, Here's a question for you. How many yellow or red cards will there be in these 4 matches?
I'm going to say there'll be 2 yellow cards in each match.
Wow, really?
On average,
wow.
I think. Okay, we'll say a red's worth 2 yellows.
Okay.
So let's just say a red's worth 2 yellows, a yellow's worth 1 yellow. My maths is amazing. I'm going to say 2, 4, 6. We've got 8. 8 cards worth will come out, which is absolutely ridiculous. But so far, can you remember a game that hasn't had cards? Can you remember a game that hasn't had cards? A big game, you know, with one of the bigger teams playing in it.
Well, the first New Zealand-South African game, they
no
didn't
cards.
Have a card.
Okay. That's good. That's the first game of the...
I know, that's all I can remember. I'm sure there are loads of other
I'm sure
cards.
there are others. But do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of cards around. And as we said, you know, they're sort of giving them out like, you know...
I hope there's no cards for the New Zealand team.
I think teams are training with 14 players.
Well, we played Tonga with 14 players towards the end of the match.
Yeah, I mean, Ireland have been... But I think they're actually training and saying, right, you're in the bin.
Yeah.
We've got 14. What are we doing? We've got 13. What are we doing? Because they're so aware that it's a massive possibility that
agreed.
You need to play with 14 players. You just hope it's not for doesn't happen in the first 10 minutes. Talk about Japan. What has massively impressed me about the way that they're playing, and I think it's a way that New Zealand have to bring into their game. They didn't kick the ball in their own half. They don't kick the ball in their own half.
They just run.
They run the ball up. Now, when I say their own half, I mean maybe their own 22. But they don't kick the ball in their own 22. They don't kick the ball in their own kind of 40.
Yeah.
But then once they get into that kind of 40, 50, they're okay kicking right down to the corner.
Yeah, but they're also looking to kick just outside the 22.
Yeah.
Force that mistake.
Yeah. New Zealand, for me, are too predictable. All teams know they will not play rugby in that between the 40 and the goal line. So they kick down there and they know that they'll kick back, and their game plans surround that. And I think if New Zealand are smart, New Zealand are going to say, you know, we back our skill.
We always used to.
We're going to run the ball out and we're going to get into really good field position, and then we'll kick the ball back down to you, and good luck. They've got to do it. They've got to do it. If they don't do it, I can see England, I can see Ireland, I can see one of those Northern Hemisphere teams upsetting them. They're too predictable when it comes to their kicks. That's for me anyway. So Japan, I think trailblazers how they've played. They back their skill. They won't lose the ball in the breakdown. They grind it up and then they kick attacking kicks.
Yeah.
Is there any team there? Okay, so my thing to you is, if New Zealand they did win the pool, if the rules were they could play either Ireland or Japan, who would they have chosen?
Japan.
Now, Steve Hansen said not, hasn't he?
I know.
And we will talk about it in a minute, but I would definitely say Japan. For those reasons we spoke about the fact that they've played their grand final. That's what we fear.
Yeah.
That's what we feel. Do you think England would have chosen Australia? Yes, we've already said that.
Yeah.
Wales would have chosen France. And I think Japan would have chosen South Africa as well.
Yeah.
So I think almost everyone's got what they want, apart from Ireland and New Zealand.
Apart from us.
So, but up next, we're going to talk about the news. And there is some interesting news stories that have come out this week.
So I thought the Steve Hansen's comment
about how he
quite liked to not play Japan was interesting.
Mind games, eh?
Yeah, I agreed.
Mind games. He's got a point. Don't get me wrong, he's got a point. I mean, Ireland haven't looked the force they were a year ago. And actually, they haven't looked the force they were a year ago for a while.
Yeah, for a year.
So you could, but I think he knows that Ireland could have a good game in them, and he knows Smith's a good coach.
Yeah,
and he knows probably Smith arguably is a better tactician than the All Black coaches are. So he might have a very smart game plan.
Yeah,
but I think he would have rather played Japan.
I agree. Devastated Scots head home to think again.
I think you mentioned I don't think they've underachieved. They were a second best team. And they were easily the second best team when you look at the tournament.
Yeah, but if you at the start, you cannot tell me.
You said
at the start you cannot tell me going, oh yeah, no, you're not going to make it.
You said to me, you said to me that you were picking them as a big upset. I said they wouldn't be a big upset. There's no way I would have picked them to win the group. But after watching them play...
Yeah, but we're talking about before, Damien.
Do you know what I'm really interested about? Is before the World Cup, South Africa absolutely smashed them, didn't they? So how have they gone from that to...
Drugs, mate. Too soon?
Way too soon. Sexton.
Oh.
Never mind the knockers. We're up for the All Blacks. Well...
Who are the knockers?
Yeah, well, I think they're getting an absolute hosing at home.
Are they?
Yeah. Absolute hosing. I mean, they loved Smith a year ago.
Yeah.
And now they're all saying, oh,
he's going to go.
Well, he is going anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Sexton, I think Sexton's a big-time player, though. He will revel in playing the All Blacks.
Agreed.
They've won 2 times out of 3.
Yeah.
The last 3 times they've played, they've won twice. Let's not go back past that because New Zealand have absolutely hosed them. But they definitely, the players on the pitch, know what it takes to beat the All Blacks.
Agreed. They've all been there and done that, haven't they?
And I don't think Ireland have been fully fit.
No, they've had some injuries.
And they haven't been as accurate. They haven't been as accurate.
Yeah.
Their game plan, I mean, Joe Schmidt would be sitting there saying, the reason why we've not done well is not because we don't have the players, we just haven't been accurate enough. And the team haven't implemented his game plan well enough.
Well, they haven't always crossed the T's or dotted the I's, have they?
That's right, yeah. Good luck with them, mate, though, because I'll tell you what, it'll be
a tough game.
The one thing that the All Blacks will be saying is, we're up for the Irish. Yeah. We want to put right some maybe the wrongs that we had in Chicago and then in Ireland as well. Great quote here. All rounders shine bright, even in teams full of stars.
Yeah.
So you look at the Japanese team, and that will be a great movie in the future.
There he is there. You can see his face. You see that guy in the middle of the Japanese
he's the 10, mate.
Oh, is he the 10?
Yeah. It's Tamura.
Good player.
Real good player, eh? Real good player. Although in saying that, their 11, the winger, is very, very similar as well.
Right.
You could almost say they're twins, eh? They're almost twins.
Oh.
But a real good story because they don't have a lot of stars. Although, in saying that, there's a number of those people that are creating, they're upping their value as the World Cup goes on. These are the same guys who have gone and played in Super Rugby and not done that well. But you put them together and you put the cherry blossom shirt on and they are proud, to go and support.
Proud nation.
Their team, go and play for their team. So
just rugby.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Now,
Tonga give departing skipper a victory birthday gift.
I thought Piutau was absolutely just sensational against the USA. This is what the World Cup is all about, these games. That's why I was so disappointed about the Canada versus the Namibia game that didn't go ahead, because that's what the World Cup for me is all about. And I know when the World Cup came to New Zealand, what was fantastic was the smaller towns hosting some of these smaller games.
And we bought into it, didn't we?
And, it was just fantastic.
Even Gisborne got a game.
Give home, mate.
Namibia
they must have been really scraping the bottom of the barrel to go to Gisborne, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to go to Gisborne? It's like going to Westport. Who wants to go to Westport? I want to go to Westport, mate. Westport's a great place. That's the news.
That is the news.
We're going to talk over some listeners' questions.
Oh, are we?
Is up next. The first one, mate, is red card, yellow card, something else card.
What intrigues me is the something else card. I know what a red card is. I know what a yellow card is, but what's the something else card, They get a chocolate bar or something. Here you go, mate. Is the something else card?
Okay, this has come out. This is actually something that they're actually talking about. Is we've got a red card as it stands at the moment. We've got a yellow card, but we've got nothing else.
Why would you need something else?
Okay, so this is the reason why. Because the way that they're interpreting the rules is there's no room for what happens week to week, which is a high tackle that they don't mean to be high, but it is high.
Right.
So there's no malice in it. There's no swinging an arm.
Okay.
There's no smacking someone in the face. There's no elbow to the head.
Yeah.
They're all red cards. There's no arms tackle that hits them in the head and all those things. There's red cards, right?
Yeah.
What about someone like Boni Aki, where he mistakenly goes and knocks him in the head, and what people are saying is there's like a purple card or a pink card.
Okay.
And that player, wait for this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Leaves the field.
Yeah.
But after 10 minutes, they have to bring another player on.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that he can't come back on.
So he doesn't play for the rest of the game.
That's right.
But they do get their 15 back after.
It might be 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
They might lengthen it out so that the teams aren't absolutely killed. Because as we know, big games, if you lose a player, the game's dead.
Yeah.
We don't want games being, especially a World Cup final, but they're not going to do it anyway. But I thought it was quite interesting, and I just think actually they're right. You know, unless there's malice for me, yeah, send that player off the pitch for 15 minutes, but then you can maybe replace him with not as good a player. I think that's a fair compromise. Yeah. And potentially if they get a purple card, they're not sort of banned for 3 weeks as a standard thing as well.
I mean, I still think if it's a purple card, they need to look at it.
Oh,
they need to re-look at it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I just think with real intent to hurt a player as a red card.
Yeah.
And I just think at the moment we've got lots of red cards being handed out when there's no real intent to hurt a player. But players do get hurt.
Yes.
So we spoke about earlier, games were called off, and we thought that people have been contacting us saying, you know, should the games have been called off? Well, of course they should have been called off
agreed. Because
of the weather, but we would have liked to have seen them play on. The next one is, great question. This comes from, is it Garrick from Cornwall?
Okay.
Do you want to read that one out, mate? It's just, that one there. You go for it.
I'll go, mate. I'll go. So his question is, which player or players in World Rugby most divide opinions?
So we've written a little bit of a list. We mentioned about Owen Farrell because we aren't a big fan of Owen Farrell.
Really? Are you not?
No. We've also mentioned Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah.
Johnny.
He's also mentioned Richie McCaw.
Yeah, you mentioned Richie McCaw in a good light.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Sonny Bill Williams, Johnny Sexton, Mara Itoje. We're putting all these people into the hat. Jesse Creel, Finn Russell, Izzy Folau, Kieran Reid, and Richie McCaw. People will say, don't put Richie McCaw in there, but he does divide opinion.
He does. Everyone in England, not everyone, but a lot of people in England think Richie McCaw spent most of his playing career offside.
Yeah,
that's their comment.
Yeah.
You get pulled up for it? No. So there you go.
Owen Farrell. Why do you think Owen Farrell divides opinion?
Because I don't like him.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason, he's a good player. I don't think he's a 10.
I don't think he's a 12. Yeah, no.
I actually thought he probably would have been
fullback?
Pretty good fullback. He's not that quick, is he?
No, he's not.
But boy, he can kick goals. And he does have great game management. But he's a very kind of conservative game management type. You won't get, if he plays at 10, you won't get your 13s, 14s and 15s and 11s scoring lots of tries.
No, that's right.
He'll kick it away well before then.
No. Yeah.
Sonny Bill Williams.
He was very divided in New Zealand when he first came and played rugby.
I think New Zealanders don't like very overconfident players.
No, that's right. And he was
very overconfident.
Very.
He lives in a Sonny Bill Williams bubble, but for me, he was a great player.
Oh,
and I still think
he's got 2 World Cups under his belt.
Yeah, and I still think he's got something in him.
Yeah,
the big moments where he'll revel in them.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can see. I think he falls in a little bit like Kieran Reid into they used to be amazing, and now they're at this kind of end and twilight of their career. Yeah. They can only really produce these big games in big games, and I think when they play normal kind of everyday matches, they're pretty average.
Yeah.
They really need something to put fire in their belly to get the best out of them.
But like Johnny Sexton.
I just don't like Johnny Sexton. Again,
Neither
it's a
do
bit
I.
like Owen Farrell. They're just a little bit. They look like not very nice people. I don't know them. They might be wonderful people, but they just look like kind of gritty and kind of niggly. They're like better people to be playing with.
Are you going to let me talk or what? The thing that I didn't get was when he got player of player.
That made me not like him very much.
But the thing is that he wasn't the best player just because
Ireland beat the All Blacks. He did play really, really well that season. I mean, you can't knock him for that.
I mean, Beauden Barrett was fantastic that year.
Yeah, he was. Oh, he's always fantastic. I mean, that's the other thing. Beauden Barrett is always great, and when he's not superlative, then people start to get on the back.
Yeah.
I put Maro Itoje in the Owen Farrell and Johnny Sexton bracket.
He's very overrated, though.
No, you see, again, they are really good players, but he's just a bit nasty. So therefore, because he's a bit nasty and he's a bit kind of in your face, I just don't like him. It's like Jesse Creel. Again, same thing. I love Finn Russell. I don't think
Yes, I love Finn Russell too.
But he is probably likely to throw a pass or do something that he shouldn't as well. The big question is he Folau?
I like him.
We love
his comments
aside.
Stupid.
His comments aside.
But his comments aside, great player.
Best
player in the world, I thought, that at the start of the year.
Until the Fijian fella turned up.
Until the Fijian fella.
Unbelievable, eh?
I still need to watch the highlights.
I watched him play for the Barbarians at 13 because he's normally a 13. And he was awesome. And at the time I was thinking, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is he? He's unbelievably good. This is when the Barbarians beat England.
Oh, what a great day that was.
It was amazing. Me and my son were there. Yeah, come on. And everyone was like, I hate you Kiwis, eh? So Richie McCaw being put in there.
Yeah.
He's not overrated for me, but
no.
If you broke him down in skill, he wasn't the best passer, wasn't the best catcher, wasn't the most elusive runner, wasn't the biggest hitter. But did you know what he had?
He had a great ticker.
He had a great ticker.
Good mind.
And that was where he was sharper than any other rugby player on the planet. And it shows actually it's not about being biggest, strongest, fastest. It's actually about being the most determined and the sharpest up here, and someone that really kind of knows the game, knows a referee, knows where a referee will pick you up on. Absolutely sensational.
Kieran Reid?
I just think he's nearing the end of his career.
Yes.
He's like a Sonny Bill. And
he was like, it was the 2015 World Cup. And a year leading into it, Richie McCaw was not playing very well. He had an injury, had quite a bad injury.
Yeah.
He came back from it, and that season that he played was not good for the Crusaders. He was not good, and I was surprised.
Are you talking about Kieran Reid? You're talking about Kieran Reid. You just mentioned Richie McCaw.
No. Yeah, no. I'm talking about Richie McCaw, but he didn't have a very good season, got picked for the All Blacks, and then he played absolutely amazingly. And that's kind of what Kieran Reid's done. He didn't have the best season.
No, he hardly played. He hardly played this year, and he's come back. But I tell you what,
and he's been playing good the last couple of games.
He played great. He played great in the second Australian match where we could have lost the Blizzo Cup.
Yeah,
he was unbelievable, and he was really good in South Africa as well.
He's been making good decisions,
great decisions.
With ball in hand, he's been making good decisions where other times he might have thrown that speculative pass or done something, but he's been playing well.
Last question. Okay, I can't remember who this has come from. It was a previous listener. I do apologise. We might put you in the notes underneath. But great question. Who has the best coaching team in the competition?
I mean, Ireland are pretty good. Japan at the moment are pretty good.
It's easy, eh? It's easy for me. It's Japan. Japan taking that team, doing the research they've done. It shows how good Tony Brown is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He is a special coach.
He's in with a sniff with the All Blacks one, isn't he?
Is he?
I think
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Because he's just going back to Otago next season for Super Rugby. He's leaving the Sunwolves. You think how good a job he did with the Sunwolves this year with literally, it's literally like going down to the second-hand store, hey?
Yeah.
Picking all load of load of stuff and then
to
say,
be fair,
come on.
you can get some pretty good bargains from a second-hand store, mate.
But they hands down for me, if they don't get big contracts after this with some big clubs overseas, or with potentially the All Blacks or England or someone along that, then people are missing out.
They won't be going to England though, will they? They won't be. Oh, they might go to England. They won't come to New Zealand. They'll go to Europe.
I mean, the All Blacks job. The All Blacks job is up. The All Blacks job's up.
Sorry, you mean right? Yeah.
You know what's stopping? What's stopping fair, Jamie Joseph from getting it?
They have got a lot of options. There's
Scott Robinson.
No, but they've also got the Irish coach is gone. The Welsh coach is going.
Yeah, there's a lot of
English coach is going.
Like the Welsh coach has been replaced, so that's done.
Oh right.
England is still gonna. I think Eddie's like typical. No, I'm gonna finish, and then depending on what happens, I'm back. So yeah, there are some options. There are some teams that are floating around, but you can't knock them. They have been absolute fantastic.
Could you see them going to the US of A?
No.
You don't think so?
Not enough. I mean, as a rugby coach, you are driven not just by money, especially those guys who, when they played
don't get
rugby,
paid that much anyway, do they?
Yeah, but when they played rugby, they didn't get paid that much, so they're not driven by money. They're driven by the opportunity to coach fantastic players.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
you're not going to quite get that.
No,
in America, it's not going to do enough for you.
No,
I would imagine
that's true.
So for me, it's the Japanese team, closely followed by who? I mean, who else has got really, really good coaching going? I mean, obviously everyone thinks the All Blacks. Is it the coaching or is it the players?
Yeah.
We don't know.
South Africa have risen up this year.
They have. You've got to say Razzie has done a very, very good job.
Razzie Dazzler.
Coming from where they were.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So that's a great shout. I actually think Michael Cheika does a decent job as well, although it's kind of chucked in with just some ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And you've got to say Eddie Jones.
Yeah.
What he's doing with England.
Although he's been very up and down in his time with England. They equalled the record of most
most wins in a row. Yeah.
And then he dropped down to bloody everyone wanting him to go, and now he's slowly built them back up again.
They look really good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Damn it. But someone did say to me, and it was a really good point. They said, if New Zealand, if we play them in the semis, if we knock them off game plan A, they don't seem to have a game plan B or C. You look at the games they've lost. I mean, I know Eddie will try and be feeding them in, but you look at the games they've lost where they've been ahead and then lost the lead.
Yeah.
They haven't changed the way they've played.
But those are smart. Those are smart players playing against them.
True.
They've had a few tries scored against them.
So they've had a few drinks.
They've almost stepped back and gone, what are they doing? How can we beat them, instead of going, we need to score tries, we need to score tries, we need to score tries?
Yeah.
They've worked it out, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that might be the issue that they have. I'm not sure whether New Zealand, they've got some smart players in there. Ooh, it's going to be a real good game if we make it through against them. But that is the end of the podcast for this week, Toby. Next week's a massive one.
Oh, it's huge.
We're either going to be really happy,
or we could be not here.
If on Tuesday night there is no podcast that comes out, it's because we're still crying from Saturday's match.
Oh. And on that note, Damo?
Well, no, we've got to tell everyone how to get hold of us, Toby.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah, we do. It's on Twitter at Super Rugby Pod.
Yep. Our email is superrugbypodcast@gmail.com.
And on the old Twitter is...
You've just said Twitter, mate.
Oh, sorry, on the old Facebook.
Super Rugby Podcast.
If you want us to support us in any way, it'd be fantastic if you give us a good review.
Yes.
Click likes.
Love
subscribe.
The comments. Keep the comments coming in.
Keep the comments coming in, yeah.
Keep the T-shirts coming in. As you can see, we've got none.
But we are enjoying it.
Yes, we are. We are.
Until next... Okay, so last week you finished off the show.
Oh, yeah.
Picking the old
Which
Japanese number. I'm not going to tell you. Just don't press number 3 because there's nothing on that one.
Okay. There you go.
Until next week.
Yeah, over and out. Yeah, he's done it.